Hey, good morning. It's Edna here live with Free Coaching Friday. And today we're going to talk about the 5 best systems to save you time in your real estate business. So stick around. So many times my students will ask me for time-saving advice because it seems like everybody starts out part-time. And they don't have time to look for properties. They don't have time to do this. They don't have time to do that. And then once they have buildings, they struggle with staying on top of the time. So I thought I'll put together my 5 best tips for staying on top of your time, because it really does matter. I have people ask me all the time, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine handling how much stuff you do. So very first of all, I'd like to say is don't try to do everything yourself when you get bigger. When you're at the beginning, when you're, solo and you're just starting out, yeah, you have to do everything by yourself. But as you get bigger, you realize you have to have team members that you rely on. So that's really important. But because most of you are just starting out or in the early stages of your career, I won't focus too much on that today. Some of the things that I know that work really well, hey, good morning, Barbara, how are you? Nice to see you on, is start your system when you're small. Even if you just have one property, start your system. So that system could be as simple as a file for your tenants, a file for all your legal documents, a file for all your income and expenses, and maybe a file for your insurance. There should be like 3-4 files that you have on every property. And that doesn't have to be paper files. That can be online files. Have a place where you can put everything for one property so it's easy to find. And title it. Title it. If you're doing it online, title it. I like to do mine by year. So I go 2018, then the property name, and then whatever it is that I'm filing. So it might be 2018, 2211 McDonald Street, tenant lease, Joe Blow. It might be that. Or it might be 2018, 2211 McDonald, insurance. You know, if you file it that way, then it's very easy to bring up when you're searching for it in your documents online. And then I do keep a paper file as well, because I get a lot of paper. So most of my insurance stuff like that, mortgage renewals all come by paper. So I keep that as well. I haven't went entirely paperless, although I know a lot of people that do. So that is one of the best things that I learned. And still in line with that same concept is think about your vision. Where do you want to be in 5, 10, 15 years, and build that system to work for you. So, and take some time to think about that. You know, do you want 10 properties? Do you want 2 properties? Do you want 100 properties? You're going to have different systems for 100 properties for sure. You'll definitely run out of filing room if you try to keep everything in your filing cabinets. The other part of that system too for the paper copies is when you get a new copy. So say each year we get a new copy of insurance, we throw out the old copies. I don't need to save insurance documents or insurance certificates for the last 5 years. I just need the newest ones. Same with tenant leases. Once the tenant's moved, if there's no challenges, security deposits paid back, all that stuff, you don't need to keep all that stuff. Get rid of it. So you might want to purge that file at least once a year. I know when we get our property tax notices in the beginning or in the middle of the year, I file them and I throw out all the old ones. I don't do it every single year, so sometimes there's more than one. But those are good systems to practice. Hey, good morning, Ian. How are you? Tenants, legal documents, insurance, and income and expenses. That's the 4th file, income and expenses. So that's a good way to start. Then the second key is to stay organized. One of the ways that I stay organized is I have a rule that I only touch a paper once and sometimes twice. So what'll happen is if I'm opening the envelopes, I will file that paper where it needs to be. If it's something that's, say it's a power bill that's prepayment, so it's automatic payment, I file it in the paid file that's going to go to my accountant. If it's something that I have to pay, I file it in a different file for my accountant, or sometimes I pay them myself. So that's one way to ensure that you only touch a paper once. If you have to, if I only pay bills once or twice a month, so then I set them to the side, and then that's a case where you might have to do it twice. So you put that power bill away, but then you pull it out, say on the 15th of the month, and pay it. So that's another key time saver. Same with emails. If it's something that I know some people that just have thousands and thousands of emails in their boxes, in their inboxes, and they get so frustrated that that eventually you can't even contact them by email. I have some investors like that right now. I have to phone them or text them because I know if I email them, they don't get it. And it's because they keep too much junk in their inbox. I clean out my inbox at least once a week, and I try to stay on top of most of it every day. So again, if it's something you want to read later, put it in a file that says read later. If it's things that you want to incorporate later, put it in a file that says incorporate. If it's something to do with one of your specific properties and it's just information, file it right away. If it's stuff that has to go to your accountant, hit forward right away. There's no point going back and looking at this 2, 3, 4 times trying to figure out what you have to do with it, because that's a huge time waster. Handle it once if you can. Sometimes it's stuff, we get bills in that has to be approved by one of us. I'll forward it over to Warren or Dawn, and I'll say, I'll carbon copy the bookkeeper on it, and I'll say, Warren, please approve for Mary. And then all he has to do is hit reply, I'll approve Mary. That way they both get the invoice, so I don't have to do it twice, right? Because 2 steps would be, I send it to Warren and say approve. He sends it back to me saying approved. Then I got to send it to Mary and say it's approved, right? So that's just one little time-saving device in there. This stuff adds up. It's going to be the difference between you being able to manage 4 properties and 500 properties. I know I haven't got to 1,000 yet, so I might have better systems for you by then. But this really, really saves a lot of time. Another thing that has really saved me a lot of time that I just started doing in the last couple of years, and that's a scheduler for appointments. I set up a scheduler now called Schedule Once, and it's a paid program, but this way, every time somebody wants to talk to me, they'll say, you know, instead of emailing back and forth 4 or 5 times, what time's the best time? What time's the best time? I just send them my scheduler and I go, pick a time here. And that saves so much time. So if you start finding that appointments are an issue for you, whether it's a realtor or tenants or students, whatever, use that one. That was a big time saver for me. Another big tip is to plan your week in advance. So every Sunday, sit down and write out your top 5 things that you want to accomplish for the week. I mean, there's going to be subcategories of some of that stuff that you're working on, but list your top 5 and then check them off. That is so key. If you want to take it one step further, do it every day as well. What are the top 5 things I need to accomplish today? And then if you get some more things in there that come up and you have to do, write them down as well, because if you don't write them down, you might forget that you've even done it. And we were talking about this the other day on Mindset Monday, but paying attention to the stuff that you did do as opposed to all the stuff that's not done is so important in our business, because it helps build our confidence and helps us see that, yeah, no, we're not just spinning our wheels. We're actually getting stuff done every day. So yeah, even if I might have been talking to Sask Energy for whatever reason and realize that, oh gosh, we got to call them back in 3 days. I'll make a note to myself right away. I've got a day timer I keep on my nest. I make a note, and then I check it off. If it's something like left a message, I mark that down. Again, it's just time savers, so you're not always flipping back to old pages trying to make sure everything is done. Another big one is use your power team. And this is especially important as you get bigger, but get used. So, use your power team. So instead of you spending hours looking through MLS or Kijiji or, homesforsale.com or whatever, use your realtor, build up your power team. You know what? You only pay them if they find you something. Let them look. That's their full-time job. We get some deals brought to our attention through realtors. We find using realtors even to sell our properties is so time freeing. Like, it really saves a lot of time having somebody do that for you as opposed to you trying to do it. Yeah, there's a commission involved. So again, you have to decide what's right for you. I know as we get busier, my power team grows all the time. Your bookkeeper, that's another big one. And again, if it's your strength, go ahead and do it. But if it's not your strength, hire it out. It's not that expensive. One deal, one acquisition fee should pay your accounting fees for a long time. So just pay attention to that. A lot of people get bogged down with paperwork, and it stops them from growing because they think, oh, I have to do it. You don't have to do it. You have to stay on top of it, but you don't have to do it. Hire that bookkeeper, hire the neighbor's kid, whatever. Even if it comes down to you not being able to stay on top of your filing system on your computer, hire a kid to teach you how to do it. They're so computer savvy nowadays compared to us that there's always better ways to do it, which comes to my next tip, and that's continually learning. You don't know how many times I found out that as I'm going through and doing my little system that I have, some young kid comes along and goes, Edna, why don't you try this? This makes so much more sense if you did this and this. And I go, wow, you're so right. And you know what? I got so caught up in doing things my way. And I mean, it's my system. It works. But if there's a better way, be open to it. Doesn't mean you have to adopt every single thing that comes along, but be open to it. Just recently, a couple of our young guys put us in touch with a group about possibly building a whole tenant management system. And we're still reviewing it because it is really expensive. But some of the things they had is, you pre-populate a form and that tenant's information goes everywhere. They can sign on their phone, like all kinds of different new technology that just makes a whole lot of sense, and easier for the kids to adopt because they're so used to just having their hand or their phone as an extension of their hand. But learn. Don't be an old dog that never learns new tricks. Learn some new tricks. That absolutely pays off. Hey, good morning, John. Nice to see you on. Who else do we got on here? Hey, Lee. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Daniel. Nice to see you, is it Dakish? Did I say that right? And okay, so if you guys have some tips that you use that has helped you save time, I'd love to see them at the bottom here because, like I said, even though I have a lot of systems, that's one thing I really like to set up is systems to do things, systems to handle things, systems so that I only have to do something once or twice. Even my whole course that I built, the 90 Day to 5K. I just pull stuff from stuff I learned over the years, just the other day I was doing up a new chart for lender requirements because I realized that my old chart was different. They're asking for more things, from us. My sheet used to be like, 6 lines long. Now it's like 12 lines long. They're asking for more and more stuff. Time to update that. So, whenever there's something new that comes on board that your lender's asking for, put it aside and make a note that you have to update your systems now because that's important. Then next time when you go to pull out and you start working on pulling your stuff together for your lender, you've already got the list. You know what you need. There's nothing worse than trying to chase down accounting papers, because you didn't file them properly when you're working on financing. Barbara says, do you always get your properties surveyed before you buy? We don't always get them surveyed. What we do is we buy title insurance to cover off most of the challenges on that. We try to get surveyor's certificates whenever we can. Like we'll always ask for them in the offer, but you always have to put in there if available because a lot of times they're not available. I hope I'm answering it the same way you're asking. Sometimes I'm not sure. Rent rolls. This is a way for those of you that are working with joint venture partners. This is a way to kind of manage things for you. So with us, We have managing partners that look after bank accounts, look after rent rolls, look after property management and stuff like that. One of the things that I've learned, and through difficult situations, is make sure you stay on top of that. Quarterback your quarterback thing. So if you're raising money and you've got investors to look after, you quarterback stuff. For example, make sure that you get copies of the bank statements every month. Don't just let them handle it. Make sure you get copies as well so you can question anything that seems out of the ordinary. You can start monitoring if you see higher vacancy. Sometimes stuff starts going on in people's lives and they get busy doing this and doing that, and they forget to manage the building properly. If you just let that go for a year or 2 years, you're going to be in big trouble. So you have to stay on top of that, stay organized, and match the rent roll to the deposit slips, match the rent roll to your bank statement. And I don't do all my bank reconciliations anymore. At the beginning, I did all of them just so that I would stay on top of it. But now I let my bookkeeper do that. We just moved over to QuickBooks Online this year, so everything's downloaded. And, but every month I get a report. And then every quarter I share that report with investors. So, and that's a good practice to get into, because, if you're sending out 20, 25 reports at a time, sometimes you get in a hurry, oh, the accountant sent all this to me. I remind all my investors, if you have any questions, please let me know. And when I have conversations with investors, just say, you will not hurt my feelings if you pick up something. Believe me, I'm looking at 25, 50 different properties at a time sometimes, and the numbers sometimes tend to run together. Whereas you might pick up first glance at, oh my gosh, property taxes last year were $6,000. Why are they $10,000 this year? It's probably just an accounting error, but I might not pick that up when I'm looking at 2025. So, don't be scared to ask for help. One of the things that I have checks and systems in place. I don't have one person doing everything. So I'll have more than one person working on balancing the books, just to make sure that one doesn't miss too many things, So that's another good tip. What else do I have? You know what? Those are probably my 5 best tips. I know some are kind of subheadings, but it kind of gives you the best idea. So if you want to write them down, this is it. Start the system now. When you have one property, start your system now. I've got pages now. I've got what's called a disclosure document that we have to send in whenever we go for financing. It's got every property. It's got the date you purchase it, the purchase price, the value of it today, the mortgage owing, the due date of the mortgage, what the rent is, and what the property taxes are on it, and insurance too. Basically, my fixed costs is all on one sheet, so that if I ever have to give something to the lender, boom, it's there. I don't have to go back and start over right from the beginning. Number 2, stay organized. Stay on top of things. Have a filing system. Every property has file for tenants, legal documents, income and expenses, and things like insurance and stuff like that. That's going to change every year. And if you start out that, one of the groups that I worked with early on was Rain. They said color code them. Red's tenant files, blue's legal documents, white is income and expenses. So just track it that way. And of course, if you're doing it online, there's ways of doing that. One file per property, and then you've got it. Like I said, I start mine, I go 2018, property name, and then whatever it's followed by, because that's the way that I like to find it. Other people might have a different system. Maybe it's property name first and the year last or something, but come up with a system that works for you. Set up your week for success. Plan it out Sunday night, or early Monday morning. Sometimes we have a lot of company on Sundays usually. So I usually do more of mine on Monday morning. Plan out my week, plan out my day, and then check those things off as you do them. Use your power team and your strength. So if and this is especially important as you're growing. At the beginning, you might not mind spending hours, flipping through listings and stuff like that. But after you want team members looking at some of those deals for you, different stuff like that. So work within your strengths. If you're somebody who's really good at raising capital, stay in that realm. Don't try to do everything else, like your bookkeeping work. I never walk into a building anymore. Very, very, very seldom. It's not something like my eyes don't look for all the stuff in an apartment building anymore. That's somebody else's job to inspect all that stuff. I can look at it. To me, it's just a furnace. To me, it's just a boiler. To me, it's just a window. People who are better trained to look at that stuff are better people to look at that. I look at the numbers and I work with the investors. Those are the two things that I'm mainly doing. So use your strengths. That's another big way. And that could be your joint venture partner in there as well. Use your joint venture partner because your joint venture partner might be the one who's looking for the deals or actually going to see the deals. And then continually learn, upgrade your education. There's apps coming out all the time for stuff. There's QuickBooks online. I'm just trying to think of some of the ones that we've incorporated. There's property management software. There's inspection reports that you can just, we do quarterly inspections on every one of our properties, and there's just checklists of things that you go through. The more checklists that you have so that it's systematized, the less time you'll waste when it comes to stuff like that. Good morning, Allison. Good morning, Ryan. Nice to see you guys on. Does anyone have any questions for me this morning? Is that making sense? Does anyone else have any systems that they use that works well for them that I haven't mentioned yet? Because I know there's always stuff to learn in this business. It's one of the things I like about it. There's so many different ways to run your real estate business, but these time-saving tips can make a big difference for you. So have a really great weekend, and we'll see you all on Monday. Bye for now.